Let's go.
정말 우리 같이 이길 수 있어요?
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're analyzing the moral alignment of the central Squid Game
Come on, let's
characters
go.
from seasons 1 and 2. Major spoilers ahead.
I cannot take him
Lawful
seriously
Good,
at all.
Abdul Ali and Jung Gum-ja.
Oh, Ali.
반갑습니다.
These two characters, though their paths are never
Jima.
destined to meet, are some of the purest that this twisted series has to offer.
그날 자비줘서 정말 감사합니다.
We'll start with season 1's Ali. His selfless nature was
Good thing
apparent
Ali
from episode
saved
1,
him, because if it
when he
wasn't for
saves
him, he
Gi-hun's
wouldn't be
life
no
during
main
Red Light,
character.
Green Light. He stays true to himself and his values through to the very end, putting his life in Sang-woo's hands, believing his ally to be trustworthy
Nah,
and
that was a
kind.
terrible
Sadly,
mistake.
this was not the case. Pour one out for
Like,
our sweet
screw the
baby.
punk.
And by one, we mean one bag of marbles.
It just shows that he was so naive. Like, that was just so sad. How that guy deceived him.
As for Gum-ja, this season 2 standout is only risking her life in the games to help her debt-ridden son Young-shik.
Her idiot son at that.
She repeatedly votes to exit the competition as soon as she realizes that everyone's lives are at stake, and offers to cook dinner for her new friends
Such
once
a
they're
mom.
free. She is forgiving.
Yo, if she
she's
dies, if
helpful, and
Jima
we'll
dies
say
in
it,
season
she's
3, I
with her.
swear. Like, kill off the freaking son. Keep Jima alive, yo.
Neutral good, Sung Gi-eun. Can we confidently say that our protagonist here is morally spotless? Of course not. Gi-eun makes a slew of questionable choices over the series' 2 seasons.
한 번만 해봐요. 이거 정말 재밌어요.
However, we'll go out on a limb and say that the sum of his actions are, well, good, neutrally.
우리가 같은 편이면
Not in season 2.
최소한 이름은 알아야 믿음이라는 게 생기지 않을까?
He always follows through with his word, exhibited through his care of Sang-woo's mother and Se-byuk's brother. Most significantly, by refusing to run off with his 45.6 billion won earnings and deciding to attempt to put an end to the games
He wants to be the hero.
Gi-eun shows that he is willing to put his life
And
on the
his
line for the
plan
greater good.
sucked.
제가 하는 말 잘 들으세요. 이거 그냥 게임이 아닙니다.
Did he kind of abandon his daughter in the process and inadvertently let his mother and best friend die? Well, yeah, but he's trying.
움직이지 말고 그대로 있어요. 긴장하지 말아요.
Chaotic Good, Hwang Jun-ho and Cho Hyun-ju. Let's talk about Hyun-ju. She breaks out in the second season by assisting Gi-eun in attempting to save a non-fatally hit contestant, despite the risk of being eliminated herself. But while kind at heart, she is unpredictable. She flip-flops on her vote to continue the games, and shows some tough love to her teammates during the pentathlon.
난 아까
It's interesting how a straight cis male is playing the role as a trans. But he did his part.
Moving on to Jun-ho, who goes to
Oh
wild
my
lengths in the
gosh.
hopes of finding his missing brother In-ho, and later
Nah,
by
his
teaming
scenes
up with
were
Gi-eun
a
to stop the
waste of
games.
time.
내가 그놈들 찾는 걸 도와줄게.
He infiltrates the island, is shot by In-ho, and still spends the 3 years that follow searching for the truth. It's a good thing he hung up his traffic cop vest. He is destined for so much more.
야, 내가 뭘 어떻게 더 도와줄까? 너랑 그 섬이라도 찾아 다녔나?
Lawful neutral, Kang No-eul. We're introduced to No-eul as a complicated but kind figure, with a harrowing past as a North Korean defector who lost her child in the midst of her escape.
제발 부탁드릴게요. 부족하면 돈은 더 가져다 드릴게요.
Viewers may have anticipated seeing her as a participant in the games, but it's revealed that she'll be acting as a masked sniper, taking
I feel like
out
she's
the
gonna play a
eliminated
bigger role for
players.
season
This
3.
immediately reveals her darker, detached nature as she carries out orders for the game's manager. However, she refuses to break the rules to help the rebellious soldiers in the organ trade, as it wasn't the job she was tasked with completing, which she felt was a merciful act of killing.
항상 감사하게 생각하고 있습니다.
I'm like, this chick.
하고 싶지 않습니다.
She
No,
stands on her
no.
principles, up until she's pretty badly threatened by the other soldiers, that is. We have a hunch she'll play a significant role in the 3rd season, given what we've learned about her so far.
그동안 감사했습니다.
True neutral, Kang Se-byuk and Park Jung-bae. It's tough to say that
Oh, my
any
girl.
one of the game's participants are truly neutral, given that their circumstances call for some pretty dire decision-making, revealing much about their natures.
북에선 왜 내려온 거야? 여기가 나은 줄 알고. 그래서 여기가 나?
But with that said, it's safe to say that these two are some of the more even-keeled of the players from the series. Though a beloved character, Se-byuk is hardly a hero. She's looking out for herself and her family, and is willing to play by the game's deadly rules in order to do so. She begins to find friendship in Ji-young, but she sacrifices herself for Se-byuk, not the other way around.
여기서 나가면 뭐랄까. 너가 물어보는 다음부터 계속 생각을 해봤거든.
As for Season 2's Jung-bae, we learn that he entered the games to pay off his gambling debts after having lost custody of his daughter.
I forgot that
similarly
his
to
friend was in
Gi-yeon.
season 1. I'm like, oh, that's the friend. Okay.
돈 빌리러 왔을 때 내가 못 빌려준 거.
Not a surprise.
너희 어머니 그렇게 안 돌아가셨을 수도 있잖아.
While he does show valiance by participating in the riot,
Boy, you should have stayed put. You should have stayed in there.
tempted by the increased monetary prize that resulted from the deaths of his fellow contestants. Despite their imperfections, both Se-byuk and Jung-bae deserved better.
제발 살려주세요. 제 딸이 많이 아픕니다.
Chaotic neutral, Han Min-yo and Sun Yo. Did
My
Squid
girl.
use their quote-unquote crazy lady trope a little
No, I
too
can't stand her.
closely
Get
in
the
season
hell
two?
out.
Perhaps, but
No.
we let it slide given that these two characters are both extremely entertaining to watch.
여기 대빵이 누구야? 마친 오빠? 오빠가 대빵이야?
여기는 그런 거 없어요. 그냥 다 똑같아요.
와, 더 좋네. 평등사회?
And naturally, they have their differences. Min-yo will side with anyone regardless of their moral character, having teamed up with both Big Bad Deok-soo and Gi-yeon's band of misfits.
오빠들 내가 특별히 같이 해줄게. 오빠들 오늘 럭키한 줄 알아. 아유.
And lest we forget, she ends her own life in an act of
That
revenge
was good.
against the former. Season 2's Sun Yo is similarly vengeful, casting a
I
spell
don't
against
care about
Gi-yeon's
this
team after
chick.
she is pushed aside
I
in
don't
the
care about her. She annoyed me.
내가 천지식명
Just a weirdo. Like, bye. Nah.
얘들 모두 이 안에서 차례대로 하나씩 숨통을 끊어달라고.
We're afraid that given the events of the last episode, her curse is destined to come true.
니들도 절대로 살아서는 여길 못 나가.
Lawful evil, Oh-il Nam.
Mm.
We've reached the section we've all been waiting for. Our bad guys. Il-nam is a fascinating villain, entering the games as a player, though secretly being their creator.
Yo, that twist.
He genuinely feels that these deadly games provide some value to the world, as entertainment to the wealthy and opportunity to the poor.
돈 얼마나 쉽게 벌길래 이런 짓을 하는 거야.
돈 자네도 벌어봐서
Trying to be all innocent, please. Nah.
쉽던 건
On his deathbed, he expresses his belief that humanity is ultimately unkind and uses the games as a sort of social experiment to watch his pessimistic outlook in practice. While it's debatable whether or not his actions are lawful, we're classifying him as such due to the philosophies behind his madness.
자네 돈이 하나도 없는 사람과 돈이 너무 많은 사람의 공통점이 뭔 줄 아나? 사는 게 재미가 없다는 거야.
He's not exactly evil for evil's sake, nor does he act out of a desire for personal gain. His evilness is an attempt to expose a larger truth about humankind, even if his methods are ultimately pretty brutal.
왜 살려줬냐고.
Nah, I knew he was suspicious from the beginning. I'm like, yo, this Gramps is having a good old time.
재밌었거든.
That's almost like if Thanos lived longer. Let me stop. Oh my god, I can't. I can't.
Won In-ho and Cho Sung-woo. Let's get Sung-woo out of the way first.
그럼 그냥 가.
Not literally. Sorry,
Man,
Blue
this
17.
motherfucker,
The
yeah.
games brought out an inner wickedness in him as he kills
This
innocent
motherfucker,
people
yeah.
and betrays those who trusted him. Did he redeem himself by ending his life and letting Gi-yeon win the sole prize? We'll let you decide. But if you ask us, though a complicated man, Sung-woo was pretty sociopathic.
원래 우리 계획
I mean, he was doing it, but still, I'm like, dang.
한 팀으로 승부할 수 있어.
Nah.
우리 둘 다 같이 나갈 수 있어.
Anyway, onto our frontman In-ho. We dig into his character in Season 2 when he disguises himself as a player to deceive Gi-eun. Quick side note, but he should have known better than to trust another player one.
Exactly.
X를 눌러서 여길 나갔으면 사람들이 정말로 좋아했을까요?
In-ho is truly cold-blooded, gaining loyalty with Gi-eun's squad in order to put an end to their master plan, with no concern for any single player's life. His calculated and sinister nature makes him arguably the baddest baddie of the whole series.
Yo, he showing up did that mess.
Before we chaotic evil,
Yo, I
Thanos
freaking knew
and
it. Come on.
Jeong-Duk-soo, we have one word for both of these guys.
What?
Yuck. All right, I suppose we have a few more words.
당신들 뭐야? 왜 남의 걸 가로채는 건데?
아, 이거 아저씨 거야?
He's like, it's mine now, fool.
여기 아저씨 이름 써 있나?
Rapper Thanos may have been under the influence for a majority of his time in the games, but that does not change the fact that he is, for lack of a better word, a sicko.
너 이게 그렇게 먹고 싶어?
Chaotic.
이 타노스님이 먹여줄게.
He pushes players down during red light, green light, and manipulates others for his own benefit. Who does that remind you of? Oh, right.
Love to hate him,
Season
yo.
1's Duk-soo.
Love to hate
He's
him.
more of a brute than a sicko, but he's also a devious and heartless person who tosses people aside like garbage.
게임 바꾸게 해줘. 그래야 공평하잖아. 니들이 여긴 평등한 곳이라며.
At least we get to see both of these
No,
villains
not
get
the
their
fork.
comeuppance. And hey, we'll admit it. A little bit of chaos keeps things interesting.
아저씨, 밖에 나가서 함부로 나불대지 말고 집에 가서 아저씨 자식 새끼나 잘 키워.
Do you agree with our analyses of these complex characters? Let us know in the comments.
내 덕에 기억도 나지 않던.
Did you enjoy
Man,
this
bye,
video?
whatever.
Check out these other.
형! 상호 형!
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're looking at Squid Game characters who met their demise earlier than expected.
Let's go.
Players only.
얘 겁나는 거 알아요. 저도 많이 겁나거든요.
Be
Yeah,
warned,
say that.
major spoilers ahead. Ji-young. It's unfair that the ones we grow to love always seem to die early, but that's the heartbreaking reality of Squid Game.
우리 딱 한 판으로 끝내자. 다 걸고.
We really got to know Ji-young when she joined Gi-eun's team and became close to Se-byuk. Their connection deepened during the marble game, where they shared their traumatizing stories.
가족은 같이 내려온 거야?
동생만.
But just as we connected with Ji-young, we lost her. Like Se-byuk, we were totally shaken when she sacrificed herself to save her only friend.
난 없어.
뭐?
너는 여기서 나갈 이유가 있지만
Her tearful smile as she thanked Se-byuk for playing with her made her loss even harder to bear. If we had our way, both friends would have lived long enough to enjoy the prize money. But the show had other plans.
강세병! 고마워.
Player 196.
Oh, damn, I forgot
In
about
Season
her.
2, Gi-eun
'Cause when she's the
re-enters the
first one to
deadly
die.
competition to try and put an end to it. But as soon as he's let back in, his plan goes sideways. So he becomes determined to save his fellow contestants.
여러분 여기 좀 보세요. 여기 주먹. 지금부터 제가 하는 말 잘 들으세요. 이건 그냥 게임이 아닙니다.
As a result, the red light, green light game pans out differently, with his guidance saving scores of players from sudden death. Unfortunately, player 196 becomes the first casualty after a bee lands on her face.
뭐야?
네가 꽂힌 거 하나 봐. 너한테 벌이 앉았어.
Okay, you should just stay still.
It sure feels like a deliberate move by the game creators to ensure panic and carnage. With her main character
gosh.
energy and Thanos clearly smitten with her, we figured she'd have a bigger role. But it wouldn't be Squid Game without some nasty surprises. Do Jung-soo. Sung-woo has done some terrible things, but this is one of his absolute worst.
시간 끌지 마. 잠깐만요. 내가 구별하는 방법을 알아요. 어떻게? 유리공장에서만 30년을 일했어요.
Why kill the one person who helped you get this far? We're talking about the
Yo, you
death
don't
of
care.
Seo Jung-soo, player 17. He came so
He's like, "I'ma
close to
use you,
surviving
and
the
then
glass
after
bridge
that,
game
you're
until Sung-woo
done."
robbed him of the chance.
또 다른 건 소리예요. 강화혜리는 700도 이상의 고열에서 만들어지기 때문에
Lawful don't care.
망치 같은 걸로 두드리면
Using his expertise as a glass manufacturer, Player 17 easily identified safe panels, helping others behind him survive. But after the front man turned off the light, his skill became almost useless. With time running out, Sung-woo made a callous move and pushed him off the panel. How utterly cruel! One more step and he may have reached the next game or even the finale. But Sung-woo's depravity ruined it all.
그럼 그냥 가.
Thanos.
게임 잘.
My boy.
끝나면 수금하러 올 거니까.
Bearing the name of the MCU's iconic villain is enough to make you stand out. Back that up with an extraordinary personality and you become unforgettable.
타노스님이 널 지켜줄게.
타노스. 그럼 인피니티 스톤은 다 모았고?
Of course.
Freaking
지금부터 내 앞에 가로막는 자들은 내가
Infinity
싹을
Stone,
쓸어버릴 거야.
hilarious.
Awful as he may be, Thanos was undeniably fascinating, dominating every scene he was in.
Welcome back, my friends.
His
Grr.
ecstatic approach to the games was bizarrely entertaining, even though it was also sad. Since the show sets him as a major antagonist, naturally we thought he'd stick around longer.
Yo, for real. Like, I at least thought he would make it to
But
season
boy,
3.
were we shocked in episode 6 when he was brutally stabbed.
It could have
It's
been
yet another
avoided.
reminder
Like,
that
this
in Squid
whole
Game,
situation
no
could have been
one is
avoided.
safe, no matter how important they may seem. Semi. We get that many characters have to die, but killing one as intriguing as Semi feels wrong.
야, 너나 잘해.
나?
너. 손이나 떨지 말고.
There's no denying that she was one of the most likable characters.
앞으로 누나라고 부르지 마. 나 98이야. 저 새끼한테 비밀.
A smart player, Semi joined Thanos' team, thinking they'd be easy to control. But that backfired. After voting to end the game, she landed on Namgyu's target list and was killed during the Lights Out riot. Was that unfitting death necessary at this point? With how the
No.
character was built, we thought she had so much more to offer. And we can't forget about her traumatized friend Min-soo.
She wasn't even
just
her friend.
Evidence that Squid Game thrives on shocking us,
The
not
hell?
satisfying us.
He was not her
Young
friend.
Suk. The last time we saw this struggling artist in the outside world, his daughter was battling cancer. So it wasn't surprising to see him in the game, desperate to win money for her treatment.
시간이 얼마 없었는데 246번 아저씨가 딱 하고 나타났어요. 백마타 왕자님처럼요.
아유 진짜 왕자님처럼 생기셨네. 정말 고맙습니다.
아닙니다. 오히려 제가 두 분 덕분에 살았습니다.
Towards the end, he joins Gi-eun's rebellion, a decision that tragically seals his fate. As the shootout with the armed guards intensifies, Young-suk and other rebels soon run out of ammo. When Dae-ho fails to return with reinforcement, Young-suk surrenders. Despite pleading for his life to be spared for his daughter's sake, he is mercilessly shot. Though we aren't entirely sure if he's gone, his plan was likely doomed from the start, since the frontman was always one step ahead.
제발 살려주세요. 제 딸이만이야.
Young-mi. Even knowing Squid Game's brutal nature, we can't help getting attached to certain characters, especially relatable ones like Young-mi.
난 아까 영미 씨가 나한테
Oh yeah,
처음
because she wanted to
말했을 때
go
바로
home.
느꼈어요. 영미 씨가 얼마나 용기 있는 사람인지. 그러니까 영미 씨도 자기 자신을 믿어야 돼요. 할 수 있겠어요?
해볼게요.
A sweet-natured girl, she formed an adorable friendship with Hyunju and became part of the show's most likable teams. But during the Mingle Challenge, tragedy struck. We can't even begin to explain how wild her death was. One minute, Young-mi and her friends were racing to their secured room. The next, she was helpless on the floor. Hyunju tries to save her, but she's too late. If only there had been enough time. Honestly, her death feels painfully unfair, especially since she desperately wanted to leave. Those pleading eyes of hers still haunt us.
Yeah. Yeah, that was sad.
Some might rationalize
that was
Sung-woo's
even
actions,
sadder.
but for manipulating Ali during the marble game, he deserves to be labeled as an evil character.
Well, he is. Or he was, I should say.
형이랑 나랑 한 명 죽어요.
Yeah, yo, screw off.
둘이 같이 죽을까?
Screw off.
아니면 네가 내 대신 죽어주기라도 할 거야?
Poor
Just
Ali was too
trash.
kind and pure for a game this ruthless. He managed to survive many
innocent.
brutal challenges, only to
Innocent
die
as
in the
hell.
most heartbreaking way.
어때? 이러니까 훨씬 더
So
안전하겠지.
naive.
Perhaps if he hadn't been so trusting and compassionate, he may have lived longer.
형 어디 있어? 형, 상우 형.
But as the violent show will have it, the last we see of Ali is his tearful face after realizing he's been duped. His death feels like the most unfair because no one lost quite like he did. And no, player one does not count. Surely,
You don't count,
Ali
bud?
didn't deserve to die heartbroken and betrayed. Jung-bae, the frontman, strikes again, and this one hurts almost as much as Ali and Se-byuk's deaths. Just like in Season 1, Gi-yeon's friend enters the game, except he's unlike Sung-woo and we actually like him.
우린 그냥 내일 게임 잘할 것만 생각합시다.
At first I didn't.
게임 다 해보면
But I'm
우승자도
like, yeah,
있겠다.
he grew on me.
우리끼리 똘똘 뭉치면 걱정할 게 하나도 없어요.
As Gi-yeon's strongest ally, Jung-bae was on his team from day one and didn't hesitate to join his uprising, only to meet a grim end.
근데 지금이 아니면은 다 같이 살아서 여길 나갈 수 있는 기회는 다시 없을지도 몰라요.
Dude, you should have stayed put.
같이 싸워서
Should have stayed put.
같이 집에 갑시다.
While on their way to the control room, the frontman ambushes them, shooting Jung-bae right in front of Gi-yeon as a way to completely crush him. It's devastating and shocking.
잘 봐. 네 영웅놀이의 결과가 어떤 건지.
And honestly, Gi-yeon is partly to blame.
Right?
His half-baked plan arguably led many to their deaths.
His
But
plan
then
sure
again,
enough
if
sucked.
Jung-bae had voiced his suspicions about Player 1, perhaps this tragic turn could have been avoided. Se-byuk. After the
Oh, my
glass
girl.
panel exploded, it left the remaining players injured, but none more so than this fan favorite. Bleeding profusely, it doesn't look like Se-byuk will make it through the night.
아저씨. 나랑 약속 하나만 해.
무슨 약속?
Since she's badly wounded, Gi-yeon goes to find help, but then we get a gut-wrenching revelation. Sung-woo attacks again, stabbing Se-byuk with a hidden knife to further his odds of victory.
I can't stand him. I really can't stand him. Oh my gosh, that really ticked me off when I saw it.
Imagine being so close to winning only for a shard of glass to ruin your chance. And then, as you're clinging to life, a ruthless rival takes it away. That doesn't seem fair at all, and Se-byuk seriously deserved so much better. But when has fairness been a thing in this brutal world?
Never.
Which death hurts the most in Squid Game? Let us know in the comments section.
Okay, let's start this.
Squid Game. What an odd name.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're ranking the games in Squid Game.
Yo, that freaking dog. That dog got upgraded for season 2.
They are to the plot. Be warned, there are spoilers ahead for both seasons of Squid Game.
영감님, 이제 해야 돼요. 뭘?
Number 10, Dakji.
저랑 게임 한번 하시겠습니까?
It's not a game played on the island officially, but it is the one that gets every single character pulled into their high-risk, high-reward ordeal.
Yeah.
Also known as Pogs outside of Korea,
Don't forget the freaking
though they're
slap.
not exactly the same. The aim of the game is simply to use your paper tile to flip your opponents over, taking it in turns. Gi-hun gets 100,000 won for every game he wins. And if he loses, gets slapped by the strange businessman who challenges him in the subway station.
그럼 몸으로 때우시면 됩니다.
몸으로요?
Ultimately, even if you lose every single game of Dakji, you're not going to die, unlike all the other games. But it's still a unique and compelling introduction to the show's concept for both the audience and the characters. Number 9, Rock, Paper, Scissors -1.
That's right, that's right. So funny how in season 1 they made him so mysterious, and then in season 2 they just made him just a psychopath.
To give us some more recruitment games in season 2. As Gi-hun spends time and no small amount of money trying to find him, he's eventually encountered playing Dakji again in a subway station, only to leave to go to a nearby park full of homeless people. He has them play scratch cards for food, but realizes that he's being followed.
These idiots, that's what they get.
하나 빼기. 가위바위보. 하나 빼기. 가위바위보. 하나 빼기. 가위바위보.
After capturing Boss Kim and his goon, he forces them to play rock, paper, scissors -1 under duress, promising to murder the loser. During his final intensive encounter with Gi-hun, he also demands that they play Russian roulette, accepting his fate when it becomes clear that he'll lose.
그 게임에서 우승하셨다고 무슨 특별한 사람이라도 된 것 같으세요?
너 따위는 절대로 알 수도 이해할 수도 없어. 내가 어떻게 거기서?
Number 8. Tug of War. This is a game that isn't unique to Korea. It's something all kids around the world will have played at some point. Here, the aim is to avoid falling to your death at the bottom of a vast pit, with a guillotine positioned so that when a team loses, they can't climb back out on the rope. The rope gets severed and they plummet to their doom. It's definitely one of the least shocking and most predictable parts of the show, since it's clear what's going to happen as soon as the game is revealed, but it's still a way nobody would want to die. Worse, the fall doesn't instantly kill all the players. Some are still breathing, barely, when the guards carry them away. Number 7. PUBG.
놀이터가 뭐가 이렇게 커? 뭘 시키려고?
There are 4 shapes on 4 doors, and everybody has to pick which one they want. Just to be safe, Sung-woo suggests they each pick a different one.
투자에도 그런 말이 있어.
Trying to make a triangle. There we go.
This turns out to be the wrong call, as they're playing a game called PUBG, where a shape needs to be cut out intact from a piece of honeycomb toffee called dalgona candy. Gi-hun
But in season 2 they did the same thing. He said an F.
The umbrella, while
That's so funny.
Sung-woo has the easiest, the triangle. In the end, Gi-hun seems to be the only umbrella competitor able to carve his umbrella out without breaking it,
But it worked.
which he does by licking the back of the honeycomb until it melts enough to simply pull apart. Anybody who
Lick it
falls
now.
is brutally shot at point-blank range.
Stop.
Number 6.
Let me stop. Oh my gosh. So corny, my gosh.
The last game played in Season 2 is Mingle. With too many contestants left alive into the later stages thanks to Gi-hun's coaching, a big game to eliminate large numbers of them is arranged.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
In this one, they all stand on a carousel, and when the music stops, they have to get into groups of a certain number called out by the announcer, and then reach one of the rooms on the periphery. If they don't reach a room before it locks, they're shot. But equally, if they have too many or too few people once they get into the room, they're also shot.
This is a punk. Oh.
With more people than rooms, it becomes clear by the end that dozens of them are going to die.
헛소리하지 마. 나 아니었으면 당신도 죽었어.
너 때문이야. 너 아니었으면 살릴 수 있었어. 시간이 없었다고.
Number 5. Glass Stepping Stones.
Ooh.
Another game particularly cruel for those
Ooh.
with a fear of heights. The players have to cross a bridge made of alternating glass tiles.
Now that right there.
Some will break, some won't, and there are also lots of gaps to make it even more dangerous. Typically, there's also
This
a
is like you
tight
don't
time
know
limit,
which one's
which leads
legit.
to
That's the
frustration in the
scary thing
group.
about that
Going
whole
last
mess.
means you know which tiles are duds, but it also means you'll have to go much faster. This makes it even tenser because the 3 main characters are right at the back.
왼쪽이라고. 정신 차려.
It's also so stressful that the players forget the path they should be taking, and some refuse to move forward.
야, 이 씨발놈들아!
You're also glad my girl got him. Like, you go and
You've got a
glue
50-50
him
chance
up.
of dying 18
Yeah.
times over. Yikes. Number 4. 5v5.
이번 게임은 단체전입니다.
Watch red like green like gonna be number 1.
5명씩
It was so iconic
Another
for season
group that
1.
sees large groups of contestants wiped out at once if they fail. In this one, 5 players are shackled together and forced to play 5 different playground games in a row. The games are making and releasing a spinning top, knocking over a stone with another, catching a handful of dice, keeping
Yo,
a
that
jeggy in
freaking
the
front
air,
man really
and
just
dokchi
ticked me
again.
the mess out. I'm just like, come on, you know what you're doing. You know what you're
You've also
doing.
got only 5 minutes to complete the whole course, or they're also eliminated. It's ruthless to see teams trying and failing to collaborate, but even worse when the pressure gets to be too much and they lose. We were truly on the edges of our seats watching people make a spinning top in some high-octane moments. Number 3, Squid Game.
The final battle.
난 절대 여기서 가지고 못 나가.
It's the entire show's namesake and the game we see played by a young Gi-hun in the opening scene. So of course it ranks highly. It's also one of the trickiest games to follow for non-Koreans, as there's no version of it outside of the country.
So any kind of violence is allowed?
Sure, there are no restrictions.
It's just Gi-hun and Sung-woo going head to head, back in the very first arena we saw during Red Light, Green Light.
Yeah, what's that gonna do? What is that gonna do?
It quickly
Please.
descends into an all-out fight rather
sit
than
down.
following the rules, which is why, despite it being the title of the show, it's not the top entry on our list. However, it's still one of the most important moments in the series, fought in the rain between the only 2 survivors. Number 2, Marbles. This one was as tricky as it was distressing.
Marbles.
After being encouraged to pair up, it turns out that their trusted partners are their competitors. This pits Gi-hun against the old man, Ali against Sung-woo,
Dude, that old man
and
smelled
perhaps
too
worst
much.
of all, the married couple who have been there the
That's
whole
why I
time.
knew he was a red flag.
They're actually allowed to play whatever marble game they like to claim all the marbles from their rival. Whoever has the marbles survives.
자네 거야. 우리는 깐부잖아.
It goes to show that even in a system that seemingly gives you freedom, in this case the freedom to choose the game, you're still being controlled by rules you can't influence or change.
게임 바꾸게 해줘. 그래야 공평하잖아. 니들이 여긴 평등한 곳이라며.
인정합니다.
It was certainly
Oh my
upsetting
gosh,
to
why
watch
keep
this play
showing me
out.
this
Before we
part?
continue, be sure to subscribe to our
I get
channel
it.
and
Poor
ring the
Ali,
bell to
right?
get notified about our latest videos. Number 1,
Boom.
Red Light, Green Light.
Boom, I freaking knew it.
그 옛날에 어릴 때 하던 거예요?
Though it was only the first true game, it was the one that introduced us and the players to the sadistic world of the show and the ruthlessness of the front man.
This is the front man speaking. Preparations for the first
I
game.
didn't even know what he looked like at first.
You can begin now.
The only rule is that you can't move while the giant, horrifying doll is looking at you, or you'll get
Yeah,
shot
that doll
by one
looks
of the
hella
many
different in season
snipers
2.
around the arena.
방금 무슨 소리예요?
Hundreds of people are slaughtered in this first game for tripping, stumbling, or just twitching slightly. Everybody who tries to flee is killed with no mercy. In one of the show's
See, the
most
fact that the
disturbing
old man
scenes,
always
it
goes
really
first
epitomized
should
what
have
Squid
been
Game is about.
the answer.
Simple children's games with fatal consequences and no room for error. Let us know in the comments what games you think we'll see in Season 3.
세 번째 게임을 통과하신 참가자 여러분 진심으로 축하드립니다.
다시 한번 말씀드립니다. 모든 병정들은 무기를 가지고 직결.
I mean, there's so many of them. Like, how the hell will that plan work? How the hell would it work? Because it didn't.
Setting scenes throughout the second season of Squid Game. Warning, there will be
So many
major
guards?
spoilers
Like,
to
no.
follow.
그렇다고 우리끼리 서로 죽고 죽일 수는 없습니다. 그게 바로 그놈들이 원하는 겁니다.
Number 10, Russian Roulette.
이제부터 게임을 하겠습니다.
여러분들이 하실 게임은
Such a
가위,
psycho.
바위보, 하나 빼기입니다.
Gi-hun recruits his old loan shark Mr. Kim and his goons to hunt down the recruiter. It does not go very well.
Yeah,
Staying
it
one
backfired.
step ahead of his pursuers, the recruiter captures Kim and Woo-seok, ties them up, and forces them to play a depraved game of rock, paper, scissors mixed with Russian roulette.
죽을 확률이 6분의 1. 살 확률은 6분의 5.
It's a brilliantly tense sequence, with each click of the empty chamber sending our hearts racing. It's also wonderfully acted by everyone involved, mixing the utter terror of Kim and Woo-seok with the joyful glee of the recruiter. Add in a fantastic song choice, and you've got yourself one of Season 2's most captivating sequences.
실격입니다.
Number 9. The Recruiter's Death.
Yeah, that was a shock for real.
한 발씩 번갈아서
I'm like, damn, okay.
그럼 결국 6번 안에 총알이 발사될 거고 승부가 나겠죠. 어때요?
And speaking of the recruiter, he goes out like a boss while playing Russian roulette with Gi-hun. He tracks the winner down using Woo-seok and surprises him at his empty hotel. We learn a little bit about him, like the fact that he was once a guard in the games, and that he murdered his own father without remorse, before the roulette begins.
딱 한 방울 쐈어요. 이마 한가운데. 그리고 깨달았죠. 이 일이 내 적성에 잘 맞는구나.
And what a tense game it is. We obviously know that Gi-hun isn't going to die, but the acting helps keep the scene tense, with Gong-yu proving especially captivating. The recruiter ultimately loses the game and dies, becoming the season's first big death.
I'm like, what? They killed him off what? Hold up.
Number 8. No-eul kills 444.
아닙니다. 이 여자가 그런 거예요.
Oh, him. Okay.
The second season introduces us to No-eul, a woman who escaped from North Korea and is now working as a guard in the games. As we later learn, she isn't especially popular with her co-workers, as she seems to be going rogue in an effort to sabotage the Orvan harvesting operation.
항상 감사하게 생각하고 있습니다.
그럼 시키는 대로 해.
하고 싶지 않습니다.
This is revealed in startling fashion when she kills player 444. One of the guards shoots him in the leg during red light, green light, but he successfully passes the line with the help of Gi-hun and Hyun-chul. He is then murdered in cold blood by No-eul, who shoots him while he's recuperating in the safety zone. It's a very cold introduction to her role as a guard.
11번. 너야?
탈락자를 처리한 것뿐이야.
Number 7. Jung-bae's death.
456번. 영웅놀이는 재밌었나?
While he had a very brief role in Season 1, Jung-bae becomes a major character in the second, having entered the games after getting a divorce and losing lots of money. He remains close to Gi-hun throughout, and even helps him lead the uprising against the guards.
That was a terrible idea. I don't know how they thought that would work.
He fights bravely and valiantly, but the season needs to end with a major death. And the sacrifice is
Like a little
Jung-bae.
shock factor,
The front man
please.
betrays the group and returns to his office to don the iconic black outfit. He then reemerges in front of the captured Gi-hun and Jung-bae, killing the latter in order to teach Gi-hun a lesson in playing the hero. At least he went down fighting for the cause.
잘 봐. 네 영웅놀이의 결과가 어떤 건지.
Wait till he finds out who it
Number
really
6.
is.
No-eul is a guard.
죄송합니다. 바로 차 옮길게요.
강노을 씨.
The show does a very clever thing in setting up No-eul, and it pays off with one of the season's most memorable endings. The second episode delves into her backstory, depicting her as a North Korean defector who is looking for her missing daughter. On the verge of utter hopelessness, she hears a knock on her car window and is given an invitation to the Squid Games. And when she arrives at the provided destination, we discover that she is not a player, but a guard. It's an eye-popping plot twist, providing a fun new spin on the games and humanizing one of its faceless pink jumpsuits.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I'm like, yo, that's that freaking chick. Shut the hell up, girl.
Number 5. No-eul shoots Kyung-suk.
Yo, I didn't even realize that. Okay.
초상화 그려주는 화가들 있잖아. 방금 그 남자가 그 화가인데 그 사람 딸이야.
얘가 어디 아파요?
아이 뭐.
Before her time in the games, No-eul worked as a mascot in an amusement park. One of her coworkers was an artist named Kyung-suk, who has a daughter with cancer. Kyung-suk enters the games to pay for her treatment, much to the attention and shock of No-eul. Kyung-suk participates in the Climactic Uprising, but ultimately surrenders when he runs out of bullets.
항복합시다. 어떻게든 살아야죠.
And in comes who is implied to be No-eul, who coldly shoots
Yo,
Kyung-suk after he pleads for his life. It's not
that is
confirmed
something
whether
else.
he lives or dies, but either way, that gunshot is enough to leave our mouths hanging open in terror. Let's just hope No-eul has a plan here.
제발 살려주세요. 제 딸이 많이 아픕니다.
Number 4. The Night Fight.
불이 꺼지면
Of course.
저쪽에서 우리를 공격할 겁니다. 정말요? 우리를 죽이면 투표도 이기고 상금도 쌓을 수 있으니까요.
Season 2 introduces a fun new element. After every game, the surviving players vote whether to leave with the accumulated winnings or play another game in the hopes of accruing more. Naturally, this divides the players right down the middle, with the X's and O's becoming very factional and antagonistic with each other.
니들이 먼저 우리 편 죽였어. 우리 죽여서 내일 투표 이기려고 한 거잖아.
It culminates in a brutal nighttime assault when the O's attack the X's in an effort to dwindle their numbers. Something similar happened in the first season, but this one is far more brutal, with massive stunts and grotesque murders, including that of poor Semi.
Isn't that the part that shows the cameraman? I'm like, oh, okay, that's random. There's the cameraman. Okay.
Number 3. The Uprising.
이 게임을 만든 놈들. 그리고 우리가 이 게임을 하는 걸 지켜보는 놈들. 우리가 싸워야 한다면 그 놈들과 싸워야 합니다.
Gi-hun correctly deduces that it is not each other they should be fighting, but the guards and the frontman.
It would have worked if they had more people
Covers much of the final
without the
episode.
frontman.
The good guys fake their deaths and pounce on the guards when they come to scan their bodies, stealing their machine guns and killing them with their own weapons.
I'm like, okay, well, let the battle begin.
저희와 함께 가실 분들은 앞으로 나와 주세요.
The battle that follows is absolutely spectacular, with much of the action taking place on the Escher-esque staircase. While they take out a few guards and cameras, it ultimately does not go well for our heroes, and they lose the battle thanks to poor strategy, a lack of ammo, and one painful betrayal.
정리 시작해요.
Number 2. The reveal of the frontman.
동의서에 약속드린 대로 여러분들은 매 게임이 끝날 때마다
I figured it was him though, because I'm like, they're not even
중립된
showing his
상금을
face.
가지고 이곳을 나가실 수 있습니다.
Season 2 has some wicked endings, but the best has to be episode 3's. Following red light, green light, the survivors vote on whether to stay or leave, culminating in an even 50-50 split.
마지막으로 1번.
자, 다 같이 동그라미.
The deciding vote lands on player 1, who was given much fanfare as he makes his way to the podium. He votes to stay, and we see that it is none other than the frontman. It's a perfectly engineered cliffhanger, and it leaves us desperate for more. Is it basically just a rehash of Il-nam infiltrating the games? Kind of. Is it still a rocking plot twist and an absolute banger of an ending? Hell yes. Number 1. The Death of Thanos.
MG 코인.
It could have been avoided.
넌 다음 차례니까.
Like, his death could have easily been avoided.
Our new resident bad guy of the season
did it to
is
his own self.
Thanos, a rapper who models himself after the famous Marvel villain. He makes it his mission to antagonize Myung-gi, a crypto YouTuber that he blames for a bad investment.
그래서 어쩌라고요?
어쩌긴 갚아야지.
He repeatedly threatens Myung-gi, and it culminates
My
in
boy,
a
what are
violent
you
confrontation
doing?
inside the washroom. Thanos pounces on his enemy and begins to strangle him, his face contorting in vicious anger and frustration. But the YouTuber gets the upper hand, literally, and stabs Thanos in the throat with a smuggled fork. And with that, the season's
Yo, as much
biggest
as
villain
I
is
didn't
eliminated
mind
from the
Thanos,
game.
he really
What
got
a
what
way
was
to
coming
go.
from him. Like, it literally could have been avoided. He was literally choking him.
Which scene shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments.
아까 화장실에서 진짜 장난 아니었다는데.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're pitting the first and second seasons of Squid Game against each other to
Alright.
see which takes the giant piggy bank of cash.
I think it should be season 1, even though I like season 2.
Seasons will ensue.
그럼 지금부터 투표를 시작하겠습니다.
Round 1. Games. Season 1 created
Oh,
an
season 1,
instantly
definitely.
iconic image as a group of unsuspecting players lined up for the world's deadliest game of red light, green light.
무궁화 꽃? 그 옛날에 어릴 때 하던 거 말이에요?
It set a precedent for an anxiety-riddled show where childhood games become a deadly survival competition.
두 번째 게임을 시작하기 전에 각자 앞에 보이는 네 가지 모양 중 하나를 선택하여 그 앞에 서주세요.
Whether the players were tasked with meticulously carving an umbrella shape from
I feel like the games in season 1 was way more intense than there was a lot of the games.
glass bridge, Season 1 kept
The
finding
bridge.
dementedly inventive ways to raise the stakes.
It seemed like season 1 had more games than season 2.
The titular Squid Game might not be as creative as what came before, but it's every bit as sadistic in what boils down to a bloody brawl to the death and an internal morality struggle. While Season 2 takes its time returning to the island, there's still room for fatal games of chance like rock, paper, scissors meets Russian roulette.
아마 영화에서 보신 적이 있으실 겁니다. 러시안 룰렛이라고. 이 권총에 총알 하나를 넣고
When the games officially get started again, Song Gi-eun and the audience know what awaits as the players step into the red light, green light arena.
It's like we already know what Squid Game was about for season 2, whereas season 1, it's like, oh shoot, what's gonna happen next?
That doesn't make it any less intense as contestants are gunned down, despite Gi-eun's warnings and guidance.
They definitely updated the doll. That doll did not look like that in season 1.
Also adds a few new games like six-legged pentathlon and mingle.
Thanos, oh my
The
gosh.
latter two emphasize teamwork, but the longer people play, the more likely somebody will eventually be thrown under the bus.
한 번만 더 반말하면은 다음에 너 버린다.
Season 2 only features 3
Yeah,
official
see?
games, one of which we already
So I'm
saw
just
in
like,
the previous
nah, season 1 had better games.
The first season not only included more games, but each of them left a greater impact than the ones introduced in Season 2. Round 1 thus goes to Season 1.
게임의 규칙만 잘 지키면 약속된 상금과 함께 무사히 이곳을 나가실 수 있습니다.
Winner, Season 1.
First.
Round 2, Action. Between
Action.
Red Light, Green Light and the final game, Season 1 opens and closes with heart-pounding set pieces.
우리 어릴 때 이거 많이 했지. 기억나?
I would think probably season 2 had more
Yet the
action.
season isn't quite as action-heavy as you might expect. Most of the games, such as PUBG, put more pressure on the player's mental state, focusing on slow-building suspense rather than adrenaline.
The reason I'm saying probably season 2 is because of the ending where they were battling a lot of guards, which was so stupid.
Choreography and staging. As over the top as season 1 might have been, it could also be surprisingly intimate, with the action taking a back seat to what was going through the characters' heads.
Man, shut yourself up.
Although season 2 has fewer games, it compensates in the action department. The six-legged pentathlon and mingle require the players to be on their toes at all
Like I said, that one was intense.
Most action-packed moments are not the games themselves. When the remaining contestants are
another
torn on
intense
whether or not to
one.
keep playing, a heated confrontation turns a bathroom into an all-out war zone. The season saves its most impressive action set piece for last, as Gi-hun's team stages a rebellion against the masked enforcers. The sequence makes impeccable use of its environment as the armed players attempt to take control of this colorful madhouse.
Stupid.
얘 겁나는 거 알아요. 저도 많이 겁나거든요.
That was not a good
지금이
plan.
아니면은 다 같이 살아서 여기 나갈 수 있는 기회는 다시 없을지도 몰라요.
Even if they don't succeed, it feels like the rules have been forever changed. Ironically, Season 1 may have more games, but Season 2 goes bigger whenever it can, delivering grander action that goes off
So
the
Season
rails.
2.
This round belongs to the sophomore season.
I figured that.
Winner, Season 2. Round 3, Pacing.
Ooh, pacing.
Season 1 introduces us to the games through the eyes of Sung Gi-hun, one of the many contestants who doesn't realize what he signed up for until he's running for his life. Even after getting a taste of the games, Gi-hun struggles to stay away.
Probably season 1 had better pacing.
Each episode keeps us guessing what unspeakable horrors await the players next. Between the games, Season 1 takes time to touch upon what makes the players tick, while gradually revealing what's happening behind the scenes. This balance of character development, moral quandaries, mystery, and spectacle makes for a riveting season of television without a dull moment.
I'm going with season 1, okay? It had better pacing, people.
Just getting started.
내가 게임을 그만둘까 봐.
Although Season 2 hits several familiar beats, it doesn't rehash the same formula. The first 2 episodes primarily take place off the island, allowing more time to flesh out Gi-hun and his new allies.
지금 기회를 놓치면 다시 1년을 기다려야 할 수도 있어요.
알았어.
Finding the only way to end the games is from the inside, Gi-hun returns to the island. While Gi-hun has played before, the rules have been modified somewhat. Namely, players can vote on whether they should continue playing between games.
투표는 역순으로 진행하겠습니다.
Desperation and greed repeatedly trump common sense and humanity, stressing the show's central theme. Yet, watching the characters vote can get redundant as we eagerly await the next game. The ending is also a little abrupt, feeling more like a mid-season finale than a season finale.
Come on. Definitely. That's why I'm like, when it comes back on season 3, it's going to be just season 2, but part 2.
While season 2 slow, certain sections can get sluggish. Season 1 is tighter and fresher with a more satisfying finish, claiming this round.
잘 들어.
Oh gosh, I'm so glad they got rid of that red wig. Even if it was a wig, and maybe it was real hair, who knows, but dude, nah, he looked like an anime character.
Upon arriving on the island, Gi-hun develops bonds and rivalries with several other players. The standouts include a former childhood classmate named Cho Sang-woo, a street-smart pickpocket named Kang Se-byuk, and a mysterious old man who knows more than he's letting on.
이긴 건가?
As engaging as these characters are, it's clear from the get-go that most of them will not survive. That doesn't make it any less gut-wrenching when Ji-young makes the ultimate sacrifice, or when Han Min-yo exacts revenge against the villainous Jung Duk-soo at the expense of her own life.
뭐 하는 거야?
순진한 새끼. 내가 정말 너 대신 죽어줄 줄 알았냐?
Although we tell ourselves not to get too attached, we can't help but become invested
hard.
even when a player doesn't get much screen time.
손을 치우세요.
Although Gi-yeon returns in Season 2, the roster is otherwise comprised of new players.
놓지 못한 것들이 너무 많아. 떠날 수도 머물 수도 없구나.
So weird. Oh my gosh, I can't even stand her. And I can't even stand that old man either in Season 2. I'm like, yo, can they just screw off my screen?
Other newcomers include a transgender former soldier named Hyunju, a pregnant woman named Kim Jun-hee, and a mother-son duo. With Gi-yeon attempting to save as many lives as possible, a strong camaraderie forms among the players.
하나 둘 셋 하면 필승 하는 거야. 자, 하나 둘 셋 필승.
Working together, we're given hope that more than one will survive the games this time. Of course, it wouldn't be Squid Game without a few players only looking out for themselves. Enter Thanos, one of the season's most unhinged villains.
I'm a legend, Thanos.
He's so cringe.
Both seasons had stellar ensembles, making this a difficult round to call. With Season 2 focusing less on the games, though, more time is dedicated to exploring character dynamics. The friendships that grow under savage circumstances give
Okay,
the
so
season
Season 2 got it.
emerging as this round's victor.
괜찮아요. 다 같이 잘해서 이번 게임 끝나고 같이 나가면 되잖아요.
Winner, Season 2. Round 5.
All right.
Twists. From the second
Twist.
the red light, green light
Ooh,
robot
the
turned her
twist.
creepy head, we suspected that Season 1 was about to take a grim turn.
The dog definitely got updated.
We nonetheless
That's
jumped
stupid
out
thing.
of our seats as guns started blazing, sending the players running and freezing in terror. Every game that followed came with an alarming twist that kept us on pins and needles.
상대의 구슬 10개를 모두 따내는 사람이 승리합니다. 다시 한번 말씀드립니다. 각자 자신의 구슬을 가지고 옆에 있는 짝과 시합을 벌여 상대의 구슬 10개를 모두 따내는 사람이 승리합니다.
Meanwhile, an overarching mystery is unraveled as Detective Hwang Jun-ho infiltrates the games under the guise of a guard, discovering what happened to his long-lost brother In-ho. As shocking as it was learning that In-ho was the frontman, nothing tops the reveal that the kindly old Oh-il Nam set this all into motion.
Like I said before, red flags, I knew
Has a
it.
handful of devastating deaths and
He
brutal
was
betrayals
too
that
excited. And I'm not talking about like Thanos type. I'm talking about like he was too excited without drugs.
The biggest question mark throughout the season is the frontman, who joins the games as Player 1. Although Player 1 allies with Gi-yeon, we know that he's working another angle.
여기서 죽은 사람들의 목숨값입니다. 저기 저 돈도 마찬가지고요.
That is crazy. Like he literally deceived and manipulated all of them.
선생님이 죽이신 것도 아니고
Wow.
무슨 뭐 죽은 사람들이 살아오는 것도 아니고.
When he'll show his true
Can't
colors
wait for
remains
season
unclear
3.
until the season finale. With the uprising underway, Player 1 sabotages everything. Faking his death, he resumes his role as the frontman. As a cruel final twist, the frontman makes Gi-yeon watch as he eliminates Jung-bae. Although this seemed inevitable in some respects, we still didn't see this jaw-dropping ending coming. Making the frontman a player was an inspired twist for Season 2. That said, it may have hit a little too close to Season 1's final reveal, reminding us never to trust anybody assigned the moniker Player 1.
Never.
게임 한 번 더 하지.
Squid Game 2 admirably maintains momentum, but the OG was a breath of fresh air that's difficult to replicate. Congratulations, Season 1. The 45.6 billion won is yours.
I figure Season 1 would win.
대단한 경기였습니다.
Winner, Season 1.
Damn.
Which season of Squid Game did you prefer?
Freaking smile, and then after freaking Season 2, you just look all serious.
두 번째 게임이 시작됩니다. 참가자들은 진행 요원들의 안내에 따라 이동해 주시기 바랍니다.
Okay, so that was my reaction to WatchMojo's Squid Game videos that I've checked out. Yeah, like I said, I like season 2. I am looking forward to season 3. I'm so glad that season 3 is coming out this year sometime. I don't have to wait that long like how I did for season 2. Thank ya. But yeah, so that was it for this video. I will for sure check out more videos you guys have recommended me, my real ones out there. I know you guys want me to check out League of Legends. What else? Valorant, Apex Legends, probably more Dead by Daylight. I was gonna say Day by Dead. No, it's Dead by Daylight. Some more Genshin Impact and the other ones that's similar to Genshin Impact. And you guys even want me to check out this K-pop group called Big Bang. I know that there are a lot of real ones out there that really want me to check out Big Bang music videos because of Thanos. So I will for sure check them out. I will try to. I don't really do no music video reactions. Same thing with movie reactions because of copyright. I don't want to have to deal with that, but I will try my best to react to Big Bang music videos and probably some other music videos you guys want me to check out, I guess. I will try to do that. I can't promise you people. I am not a woman who will make promises that I can't keep. So this is not a promise at all. Anyways, for those that are watching, that is it. Until next time for my real ones out there that will return, you guys already know, deuces, babes.